For the longest time, pet owners chose trainers referred by word of mouth, and later, social media became the main advertising tool for trainers to get business. It didn't matter what training methods were adopted or what happened behind the scenes. Many people flocked to these training schools or individuals convinced by these videos, which show happy dogs in training sessions. On December 10th, NParks announced the AVS accredited certified dog trainer scheme. The new scheme will only recognize certifications from 4 independent animal behavior and training organizations. This will ensure that dog trainers possess a basic understanding of science-based training methods, dog welfare and behavior, be committed to ethical training approaches, and meet international standards of competency. Let's speak to 3 modern science rewards-based trainers and a vet to ask what, why, and how to gain purpose and perspective because of this new development. Why do you think this change has been brought about now?
I think that change has been a long time coming. In fact, I think it's long overdue. Prior to the recent regulation by AVS, you had a lot of dog trainers in the industry that were self-proclaimed dog trainers.
Right.
Yeah, because they didn't have the knowledge required. They didn't know about learning theories, for example. So a lot of them resorted to their own methods, and they would also often resort to using punishment or using aversive methods to so-called train the animals to perform desired behaviors. But I think today, science has shown us that we don't need to do that anymore. Research has shown us that positive reinforcement works, and it works effectively, and it's very humane. So if we have all this knowledge at our fingertips, why aren't we using it, right?
Yeah. First question, what do you think having a benchmark for competency in dog training is essential?
I would feel that having basic level of competency is important because as dog trainers, ultimately we are in positions of power.
Yeah.
We have a certain level of authority in the sense that dog owners look towards us for guidance, and they look towards authorities like AVS for guidance as well. That's why it is important to have this benchmark to make sure that there are some ethical benchmark as well as guidelines in place.
Yeah. How does this create positive change in managing dog aggression and other disamities effectively and humanely?
From layman's point of view, it means that we try to use the least harmful method and in a very holistic manner to look for behavioral modification. A lot of factors that resulted in this aggression. So just to list a few, there was a physical condition. He was stressed out constantly because of his physical health. He was unwell. He was having allergies. He was itchy. He wasn't having good sleep. He was constantly stressed, even at home. With the Lima approach, there are so many things that we could do on multiple levels before you finally get to the last level, the last resort of positive punishment.
Yeah.
People might think that, okay, so we talk about positive reinforcement, using treats to build positive associations, to encourage behaviors that you desire, to reinforce those behaviors that you like. People might think that it might not work because they sort of tried it before, but it didn't work for them. But it's also an issue of competency.
Yeah.
They might have tried it, but they didn't try it correctly,
the
right way. So that was something that I realized as well, because along the way, you know, this is not just a learning process for the dog, but it's also a learning process for the human. You realize that there's no need to use punishment, and with this new benchmark, new competency required, it ensures that people don't easily resort to punishment and punish our dogs for our lack of competency. The thing is, these are dogs that are living in our human world, and we are expecting them to conform to our own expectations. The truth is, they are canines living in captivity. They are animals in captivity. And we impose all our expectations on them, but we don't impose these expectations on ourselves to train them and teach them how we want them to behave.
And how do you think pet owners can become better dog guardians?
Okay,
or,
I think
or pet guardians.
pet guardians.
Yes.
I mean, as pet owners, if you are going to have a pet, please build bond and not break the bond. Yeah. Learn to read about your dog's body communication, understanding their needs and coping behaviors so that you can best enrich them. Yeah. For example, some people may get certain breeds that are very like hunting breeds, and all these dogs have high prey instinct. But by being domesticated in our home, the dog has no alternatives to actually practice their innate behaviour. So we always provide enrichment, games and toys such as snuffle mats, licky mats, or even recycle cardboard material. Just give them an avenue whereby they can actually have creativity in their daily life to do their searching, foraging. I mean, just a source of work to keep them entertained, mentally and physically enriched as well. Yes. And most importantly, because they are our pets and we love them, we always want to advocate for their well-being.
Okay, Dr. Lam, first question for you. In your profession, have you seen any health implications of dogs trained using non-science-based training methods, or those that are intrusive or aversive?
Okay. So methods that are intrusive or aversive tend to be those which involve punishing a dog. You could use any device to punish a dog, but the most commonly used ones would include your electric collars, your prong collars, your choke chains. So in practice, I've seen a lot of dogs come in with skin wounds, sometimes superficial, sometimes really deep, that it might require stitching up. And this is due to the handler pulling on a device or executing an electric shock in the dog. I've also seen cases where owners might be instructed to spray water instilled with vinegar onto their dog's face, and they come in with red eyes, and it really affects them. So the health implications indeed affects their physical health, their emotional well-being, and their mental state as well. Another commonly recommended method is to smack on a dog's muzzle, and we tend to see that dogs that have been exposed to that method come in very head shy. They're avoiding even a loving pat from someone. So it definitely does take a toll on their mental and emotional well-being.
Yeah. A lot of red flags there normally that you can pick up just from how the dog reacts to a simple gesture. You want to show love, and yet they might be like, "Oh, wait, are you here to hurt me?" Or
That's right.
Which is very sad.
Yeah, and I think it's important that people understand that anything can be used in an aversive manner. So you could even have a normal leash, a normal collar that can be used aversively if you put it too tightly, if you hit the dog on the head with a leash. That is also an aversive method or device.
Also, what's the link between chaining a dog, its behavior and temperament? I think you touched on a little bit with the averse methods, but something that Chain Dog Awareness Singapore does. What's that link there?
So chaining is when a dog is restrained to a stationary object to prevent them from moving. So typical things that might be used would be metal chains, ropes, long leashes. And often these dogs are left unattended for long periods of time. So they may not have the appropriate shelter, they may not have the appropriate veterinary or health care, so they're often in a neglected state. So in Singapore, the reasons cited for chaining include keeping them away from areas beyond that chain zone. So it could be household members, guests, visitors, and sometimes, very sillily in my opinion, the garden. Some owners have a dog, they get them for guarding reasons, but they do not want them to step on the garden. So when a dog is chained, they're tethered, they have a very restricted space to run, or they can't even move very much. And what might be originally a friendly, docile dog might turn to be very neurotic, anxious, and sometimes aggression does ensue. So having dogs chained doesn't solve the original problem that the owners might be trying to tackle. So I think it's really important that people don't run to what they believe is a quick fix, fast solution, but instead to look and engage a trainer who is scientifically equipped with scientific knowledge, equipped with the basic understanding of dog training, that is science-based, understands dog behavior, understands dog welfare, and is constantly keeping up with international standards and competencies.
This has been a Trainer Talks by Chain Dog Awareness Singapore. CDAS is a non-profit organization founded in 2015 to raise awareness of the plight of the many dogs chained across Singapore. Every year they advocate for 30 to 40 chained dogs, some rescued with AVS, while others surrendered by their owners. To learn more about the organization, or if you wish to volunteer with them, follow them on Facebook and Instagram.